Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. The next section deals with the call to prayer and pre-prayer call. The Arabic word for the call to prayer, adhan, has two meanings. The linguistic meaning of the word is an announcement. The technical meaning is an announcement that indicates the entrance of an obligatory prayer time. The Arabic word for pre-prayer call, iqama, also has two meanings. The linguistic meaning denotes an establishing of something so that it stands settled. The technical meaning is defined as an announcement signaling the commencement of the prayer while standing, utilizing the wording of the call to prayer. The author says, the call to prayer is not valid except that it is during the prayer time, that is, after the prayer time has come in. The call to prayer is not valid when called before the prayer time. The call to prayer for this afternoon prayer cannot be called during the time for the noon prayer, for example. The author continues by saying the caller is morally responsible. That is to say, the caller cannot be a child or insane, for example. The third characteristic of the caller is that he be male. That is, he cannot be female. The author also states that the caller must be just. That is to say, that the caller cannot be an open sinner, even if he knows the prayer times. And, according to the school, the caller must be pure from major ritual impurity. The caller must not be in the state of post-coital impurity when calling to the prayer. However, there is no problem for the mueddin to be in the state of minor ritual impurity. However, the one who performs the pre-prayer call must be pure from major and minor ritual impurity. The author also states, and it is in Arabic. That is to say that the call to prayer must be recited in Arabic and not any other language. The call to prayer must be properly pronounced in Arabic without errors which may alter the meaning or may be meaningless. For example, one must take care as to not elongate the short vowel sounds and shorten the elongated vowel sounds. Such call to prayer would be considered invalid. The author says, it is sufficient for the one hearing it and for the one praying in the city, whether it's one city or not. The author goes on to say that the person, that is, who calls to the prayer, must be relied upon to know the prayer times in clear weather conditions, not during cloudy days. Such person must be knowledgeable regarding the entrance and departure of the prayer times. He must also know how to clearly differentiate between the real dawn and the false dawn, for example, as well as be able to tell whether the sun has set or not. In that case, that is, in the case of cloudy days, or anything else which may hinder one from accurately knowing the prayer times, everyone is responsible for themselves, the author says. Everyone is responsible for knowing the entrance of the prayer times to call to the prayer for themselves. There are two situations which merit that one relies on another to call to the prayer. The first of which is if the sky is clear, as we've mentioned, and the second condition is if there is agreement regarding the entrance of the prayer time. If there is disagreement regarding the entrance of the prayer time, one does not rely on the call to prayer of another person. One acts upon one's own certainty. The author then says, no one performs the pre-prayer call except the caller to the prayer, that is, the mueddin, who is ritually pure, that is, ritually pure from minor ritual impurities, as we said before. The one performing the pre-prayer call must also not be a person who had already prayed the obligatory prayer for which he is performing the pre-prayer call. There is no precondition that the one calling the pre-prayer call must stand while he does it. It would be valid even if he sat while calling it. It is sufficient for the one praying in congregation or alone to perform the pre-prayer call. The place in which the one who performs the pre-prayer call does it must be the place where the prayer is prayed afterwards. For example, if a person performs the pre-prayer call in a mosque, such person must pray in that mosque after having called it there. As for the form and wording of the call to prayer, it is as follows. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. Hayya ala salah. Hayya ala salah. Hayya ala al-falah. Hayya ala al-falah. Hayya ala khayr al-amal. Hayya ala khayr al-amal. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. La ilaha illallah. The wording for the pre-prayer call is the same as the above, except the phrase قَدْ قَامَتُ الصَّلَاةِ is said twice after the phrase هَيَّ عَلَى خَيْرِ الْعَمَلِ. The phrase الصَّلَاةُ خَيْرٌ مِنَ النَّوْمِ is considered an innovation according to us and is therefore invalid, even if it is said in the call to prayer for the dawn prayer. It is obligatory to intend to perform both calls, and it is encouraged and meritorious to intend closeness to Allah when reciting the call to prayer. The both of them are also invalidated by omitting any of the words. The prayer is not invalidated by the invalidation of the call to prayer or the pre-prayer call before it. It is discouraged to speak during the call to prayer as well as do anything which preoccupies oneself from it, such as eating and drinking. It is similarly discouraged to speak between the call to prayer and the pre-prayer call. It is discouraged to pray supererogatory prayers between the call to prayer and the pre-prayer call of the sunset prayer. As for the other prayers, it is encouraged for one to pray supererogatory prayers between the call to prayer and the pre-prayer call. It is encouraged for the one calling the call to prayer to do so in a loud and clear voice, making the wording audible and distinguishable. It is encouraged for the muezzin to turn his head slightly to the right when uttering Hayya ala salah and slightly to the left when uttering Hayya ala al-falah, as well as place his index fingers in his ears. It is encouraged that the muezzin not be the prayer leader, and he is to do so standing, that is, call for the prayer standing, and not sitting for the sunset prayer.